Alright, I'm gonna teach you real quick how to do an oil change. Everybody should know how to do an oil change. It's just one of those basic maintenance things that you should know how to do about your car. Step one, make sure you get the right stuff. If you don't get the right stuff and you end up draining your oil, you're gonna be stuck. You have to walk or find somebody to drive you because your car will run for like 5 seconds without oil. Unless you have diesel or abuse your vehicle. You can find out under the hood, right up, there's an oil filler cap. It'll usually tell you what kind of oil you need, and if you can't find it there, it'll tell you in your oil owner's manual. When you go to, yes, Ryan?
Also on the stick on the new cars, it's actually on the dipstick.
Yeah, on the new cars, it's on the dipstick too. And then when you go to the store, if you're going to an auto parts store like Napa or Advanced Auto Parts or something, you can just talk to the guys and they can generally look it up for you. You need oil and you need a filter. Depending on what you get, there's OEM and aftermarket. OEM is your original equipment manufacturer. My car's Mazda oil filter, Ford, Motorcraft, that kind of stuff. And then when you're looking on the oil cap, it'll tell you if it's, most cars use 520, 530, 1030. My car, it has a little bit more of a performance engine, so I need higher rated oil, it's 150. But most cars, generally, you can get away with 1030 no matter what the gas is. Step two is kind of just a series of steps. It's really you pull the plug, let the old oil drain, put in the plug, screw off the filter, screw on the filter. And then, I mean, it takes, if you do it right, it takes about 15 minutes to get through all of it, make sure you get most of it out of the car so you don't have as much old oil in. When you remove the drain plug, you have to be very careful. Most cars now that most people will drive, unless you're driving a big truck, it's front wheel drive. You'll have two drain plugs right next to each other. If you pull the wrong one, you're going to be draining the transmission. And again, you'll cause a lot of damage to your car. I've heard stories of people filling their transmissions up with engine oil, and it'll burn them out real quick. Unless you drive a Honda. Hondas are the exception. Hondas are oddballs in the car world. You can get away with it. They actually, in the owner manual, tells you if you're low on transmission oil, you can substitute 10W30 for it until you can get into a shop. But make sure you pull the right plug. You want the engine oil.
Is it marked?
They're not marked, but you can, if you look up at the car, like when you're looking in the car, you'll have the engine, and then it'll slope down, and you'll have this little circular metal thing towards the bottom of it. The engine's the taller, bigger thing. The smaller thing is the transmission.
And generally, your paint pan is just going to be square.
Yeah.
And your engine oil pan can come down and come down a little deeper.
Yeah, as you can see there, it kind of gets shaped a little bit.
Okay.
Dipstick. You want it very simple. If you overfill it, you're going to aerate. You're going to as the engine's spinning inside, you're actually going to knock air into the oil, which is not great for it. It'll foam up and it won't protect as well. But if you're below, you won't have enough oil to lubricate the engine. So you have to try and keep it between those hash marks. It's actually better to be a little below than above. Because it being low doesn't necessarily mean that your engine's going to blow up, but it being above, there's a high chance that it's going to cause damage because it's knocking that air in anyway. That's what happens if you don't change your oil. That's why they say change it every 3,000 miles. Some newer cars, they're using more advanced oils, so you can get 5,000 to 6,000 miles out of it if you baby it. That's sludge. That's what your oil turns into. That's why you need to change your filter, because the filter cleans out the big chunks of stuff that are in there, like little metal shavings as the metal grinds against itself. It's going to happen. What what happens to your oil is it breaks down and all the additives and synthetic oils, they break down, the oil can't protect, and it actually turns into this nasty sludge mess, which will destroy an engine too. It won't allow oil to flow through all the oil passages in the engine, causing things not to get oil that absolutely need oil. But yeah, it's more simple than it really is. There's my references.
Very good. Questions? Now, I think the hardest thing for the average human